Hi, Julia. Thank
Hello.
thank you for giving us your time. Tell us your role at PTCS. What do you do at PTCS, Puerto Christian School? How long have you been with us now?
I have been with the development committee for the school since April of this year.
Mhm. Only a few short months.
Only a few short months on the development committee.
So what do you do in this development committee?
Really, I can tell you in the committee, I was more inspired by my committee members. We really don't have a specific role, but we just take whatever roles that it calls for. So no one come into the committee thinking that I am going to be the chairman and I'm going to be the treasurer. No one does that. We just take up whatever gap and roles that it requires and run with it. So that's really pretty much, we do. But I can tell you day in and day out, week after week, I am more inspired by my other committee members because of their commitment and of the passion.
It's very encouraging to hear you say that you are inspired by the committee member. You are a very humble person. Now, I know that you are a lady with a lot of God-given gifts and talent and ability, and you are a very busy person because you have a full-time job. And why on earth, with all that happening in your life, you pick up one more mission? What actually drive you to out?
The thing is, I am a person that like radical idea.
Mhm.
And I think building a new school is a radical change. Why do I like radical idea? Is because I think Jesus is a very radical person, because he said, the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve.
Mhm.
I think this whole idea transcends time and place. Today you can look at it and you can say, hey, it defines the modern government. But if you look back 2,000 years ago, it's very radical. So, you go to a restaurant, you don't intend to pay money so that you can serve the waiter. The waiter sit there and eat, and you go to a restaurant and you serve them. So this is a very, very radical idea. So because of that, I tend to like to be involved in a radical change. That's how I came involved with PTCS and on the development committee.
So you are viewing Puerto Christian School's expansion plan, Project Nehemiah, you equate that as radical.
Yes.
How is it radical? Can you?
Well, because a lot of people like to take things in small steps. And they say, okay, you really don't need a whole new school building. You can just, expand, find some new places, expand. And yeah, that's all fine. But you take this bold step and say, okay, we want to be up for the challenge. We want something new and something different and something for the better. So it sounds a very bold move. That's really what I think is radical.
I think you're right. A lot of people think that you might not, or we might not need to expand. You've been running the school for the past 70 years and you survived, like having mobile classroom or setting up daily, or even in a tiny little room, fit so many people in there. People think that you could go on like that, but you happen to think differently. And I actually get to know you a few years ago. And then the first time I met you, we were in this study group. And then I was like sitting there watching this lady expressing her idea and say, this is a person who think out of the box. I would like her to get involved with the school one day. I started calling you, and then we met and we talked about the school, and we were dreaming for the school together, even though you were not our board member or a committee member. But I remember tracing back, enjoying talking with you because you are able to dream with me, and you're a person who's willing to dream big and think out of the box. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much.
And how have you I'm sure that you noticed that you have that, and you also have a lot of talent and gifts. Do you feel that God is actually practically using all that for his kingdom ministry? And how
I hope so. I don't know that. Like I said before, when I joined the school or when I work at the center, I always inspired by the people who I work with, because it was them that they kind of like you, that encouraged me on. And in many ways, it was my committee members or my volunteers who take me out. Like they would say, Julia, you will be good at that. So I think it's so much of people thinking that I have the talent more than I think I have the talent. But like I said, all the committee members, they don't come into the committee with an agenda of what I am going to do this. Everybody just come in and we work together, and whatever it needs, and whoever it is, we just pick it up and run with it. So we sort of let God define what role we're gonna play. I don't know what role. God only know what role I'm gonna play, but I just follow the path. Whatever it needs, I'll do. God he is a director. I'm just following my lead and go on.
I wish more people are like that, because usually when we approach people will say, oh, I don't have talent, and I don't have gift, I don't have ability, I don't know how to do it. Then they walk backward. But then what you are saying is you follow God's lead, and then there's got to be a role for you, and if we follow his lead.
Right. There's always a place when you want to volunteer, participate, involve something. Don't worry about what you know and what you don't know, because there's always something for you. That's how I've seen, that's how I experience.
Julia, I know that you are a person of faith. Do you have a guiding verse?
Yes, it's the same verse. The Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. So to me, that's my guiding. To me, that's really define the moment. Why we are different than others. It's the whole radical idea is we are coming here to serve, not to be served.
So now, when you think of Puerto Christian School, what comes to your mind right away?
The school, I first learned about the school when I was involved with the PTCS Center. And at the time, I didn't know anything about the school. And, at the time, the school was part of the center. So I got regular update from the school. And I was amazed by the academic achievement by the school, because I thought, wow, this is a school with very limited resources, but the academic score that they are able to achieve is way beyond that I can imagine. I mean, it's really, really amazing. So that's how I learned about the school. But the thing also is, I was involved in the center. I was on the center board. It was the time that also we have to decide to separate the school and the board. And I still remember it was not an easy decision to do that, because we went from one financial sound organization and split into two. But the thing is, we want to grow, because we know by separating, that's the only way that we can allow different people to focus on different ministry. We cannot all sticking in the same way. Just like you don't think you can grow radically by staying in the same building, in the same mobile classroom. You have to make a difficult and radical change, and you will feel the pain at the moment. But years and years and years and years later, when you look back, you will say, ha, that was easy. It's a no-brainer.
All right. And even though you've been with the school for a short time, but actually you've been with the ministry for a long time. Like you said before, the school was under the leadership of Pui Center for, I think, at least 20 years. Like right now, Pui Center is about 30 years, right, in history.
Yeah.
So the school became independent in 2017. But before that, since you were on board with Pui Center, and we were part of Pui Center, so then you get to know the ministry, right?
Right.
So if you trace back all this year, do you see God's work performed in this ministry? And how would you, were there moments and you said, that is truly miracle?
I have been volunteering at the center, and I was I always do the tax preparation for low-income people. And the things that really, I volunteered for more than 10 years. Of course, I don't remember every one of my clients, but a lot of times that it's only 3 or 5 clients that stick in my head. And a couple of them have to do with how our parents, their value on education. So we always do tax return, and people always get a tax refund. And I like to ask them, so what are you going to do with your tax refund? A lot of people would say, oh, I'll put it in the savings account so I can save it for rainy days. A lot of people say that. But the things that I remember the most are the mothers who will say, I will get the tax refund so that my girl can take piano lesson, or my kid can go to after school program. So that really surprised me, because I think education benefit 2 generations. The education not only benefit the kids, it benefit the parents. So I think that's how I understand how education and school are so vitally important in any ministries, because usually your target is one-on-one, but in education, your target, it could be 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, like the grandparents could be involved in the same ministry. So this is how I look at the school.
Okay. How would you, like, if you were to share with an audience that has no idea what Pui Christian School is, what would you like to tell them?
I like to tell them that the school is more than just a school. We have a lot of good school in Chicago. And if you have money, you can pay for very, very good school. But PTCS Christian School is not just a school. It's also a home, a family, and it's also a ministry. Because in this school, we don't look for your academic success. We also have teachers who care about the kids. And I remember vividly one day I have a conversation with you, Bonnie. It was about a student who the mom's thinking of pulling the kid, it's a girl, pulling the girl out of the school because she cannot afford it. And you said, Julia, I have to cut you out short or something, that you have to go visit that parent, the mother, to talk her in keeping the girl in the school, even though she cannot afford it. And by the way, since you're going to visit them, you're going to take your homework to her so she can work on the homework too. So to me, it's like, wow. So you pay a tuition, you go to school, you're not only going to school to get an education, you also become a family. You have teachers and principals that really care about you. So, I mean, I would think that this is how I would tell people that a school is actually not just a place for education. It's a place that the kid learn to love each other. And it's the kid that it's really a safe place for the kid. If they are in trouble, in any challenging situation at home, the school is a safe haven. But Bonnie, I have to carry on the story to give you another lesson that I never share with anybody. Mm. So you talk about this girl and you said that they couldn't afford the school, and we ended that conversation. So actually that girl stuck in my mind. It was in my head. So I talked to my husband and I prayed about it. And we decided that maybe we should help this girl because she can't afford tuition. So I might have thought about it for maybe, I would say a few days, maybe up to a week. And I call you back. I told you that we want to help this girl out. You said, Julia, thank you for your help, but someone already jumped in and helped. So it's an experience for me.
You're too late. You didn't take a few days. It's too late.
Yeah, right. So I sort of learned my lesson. When you were presented an opportunity, jump at that moment. Don't think too hard, because once you think too hard, it's gone. I no longer have that girl. I mean, you told me, yeah, if we have a similar situation, you will call me. But, that girl is in my head. That was it. But then I took too long to say yes. So that's why I kind of lead into what I'm doing today is, I think when people ask you to do something, whether it's volunteer, to be involved in a campaign, don't think too long, because opportunity never comes at the right moment. It doesn't come in a nice package with a red bow. It always comes in the most difficult moment. You just have to jump, and then things will work out by itself. But if you don't jump, you miss the chance. It's like a train. You think it's a train to lead you home, but you were looking at your map, at your phone, and the train just passed by. You can't get on the train. You have to wait for the next one, or the next one might be an hour or two away. So that's really how I learned about the school and the care of the school. And it was actually a lesson for me. It's like, Julia, try not to think too hard on things.
Well, you reminded me that experience. That day I did cut you short because it was getting very dark out there. And I knew that I need to travel to a neighborhood that I'm not familiar with. That family, actually, the parent gone through a marriage problem, and mom was sick, and the child was not in school for a week already. And this is an straight A student, up until where the marriage broke up, then affected her emotionally, and we see her struggle. And then when she was absent, it was very alarming. And then when I learned that mom was sick and they had no money, and I know that all along they were struggling, delaying tuition, but eventually they were able to pay. But I think this time they were not, any hope. So I decided to go visit. And I still remember that night, it was really dark. I went to this unfamiliar neighborhood, it took me a while to find the building, get up there. I felt that because I'm Asian in that neighborhood, everybody was kind of, what is this Asian woman doing in this neighborhood? And kind of like watching me. So I was a little bit like nervous. But when I went up there, knock on the door, it took a while for her to respond. And eventually she opened the door and I look inside, it's completely dark. And I see things were on the floor, like it's very not tidy, and herself were not in good shape, and she was still sick. And I gave her the package and I said, even though your daughter cannot come, here's the work, at least she could do it at home. I remember that. And then she came back eventually because of the help. And I also need to learn a lesson, because I have forgotten that I told you when there is a need again, I will call you. And actually, we lost her again. We lost this girl again, but then she came back in one of the school events, both mom and her sitting in the back. And after that, she came up and both of them hugged me. And they said that it feels like home. I feel like I came home. And she really wanted to come back. Sounded like she will be back, but then it did not work out again. It's finance. So I know that the girls still want to come back. So it's not too late. If you want to help her, we could go.
Okay. So God has a second chance for me. So, okay.
Yeah. So there are a lot of miracles take place in this place. It is not an ordinary school. The reason why that I'm encouraged to work here every day without feeling fatigued is because constantly I'm involved with people's life, and I'm seeing how God used the entire team to help student and family, and seeing life being changed on a daily basis. That is very encouraging. And then the people who get involved, people like you, come alongside, has been a great encouragement to me and to the entire team. Thank you so much, Julia.
You're welcome.
So are there anything else you would like to say to the audience?
The thing I like to want people to know is, I think giving is like a journey. People say, oh, you will feel, you have a purpose when you serve. But from my experience, giving is like a journey. It's not a magic wand. Like I said, I volunteer at the center almost 20 years, okay? Not every day, every tax season I volunteer, I get to meet wonderful, memorable experience. I would say of my 15, 20 years, there may be only 5 experiences that I remember the most. But I can tell you that 5 experiences stick in my head for a long, long time. It wasn't like, you go buy something, right? The excitement is when you get that thing, but it disappears when you take it home. As a matter of fact, the more stuff you have, the joy disappears faster. It's the reverse of giving. Giving you a refreshing moment. When you give, it's a refreshing, but then it's almost like an education and journey. It's like you have to start, go start. And like me, don't think too much about it, because if you think too much, the train will pass you by. So just jump. And you can jump, but don't expect this is a diet pill, you're gonna lose weight right away. But experience it. You give and you get involved, and to the best you can. It doesn't have to be always be money. It could be time. But what I would like everybody to do is take it as a journey, like a journey. You keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. You will figure out, like what you said, the role that was set up for you. You really don't know what role you're going to play, but as you play, you will know, oh, okay, that's my role. Let me just go play that role. And then you will see that there are certain things along this journey will define you, will really be stick in your head, far more satisfying than, getting a nice bargain. So that's what I want to share with the audience.
Thank you very much. I echo you. It's kind of like when we give, we feel like that we have less, but actually it's a opposite. My experience when I give my time, when I give myself, I become wealthier. I think that I'm the very wealthy person on earth because God enabled us to give ourselves to the people who might have need. Yeah.
Not wealthy in the earthly definition. We're not wealthy, but the thing is, you have a purpose. And that's really actually you feel wealthy because you have so much purpose every day, more so than getting a nice dress, a new bargain. I mean, you involved in something, and I would encourage everybody involved in something radical. So the more radical it is, the more fun and challenging it is.
Exactly. So, and thank you very much. And I'm very excited. I'm a blessed person because I could, get to serve with many people like you, enrich my life because of your partnership. Thank you so much.
Thank you.